Brad
Hey,
is
everybody.
working, and we have special guests tonight. We got Sunrise Water Media Kris with us, Kris Waters, and Idaho Quadcopters is here with us, Marcus Crawford. So, without any further ado, let's bring those guys in and let's start chatting. What is
And
going
there they
on?
are.
Yeah,
Hey,
hey Jenna,
Kris.
Hey, Marcus. Hey,
Yeah.
Kris.
Hello.
Those guys in. Oh, that is me. That's my apologies, guys.
There they are.
Yeah. That's me. Sorry, I always do that as a host. So anyway, Kris, you sent me a really cool picture, and I think we ought to start talking about that picture because I thought it was really a nice picture. And you got it's some backstory with this picture. So without any further ado, let me just share my screen and let's talk about this. So
All right.
I think strangely fun but odd. It's such a great conversation piece. It
Yeah,
really
well, what it came from was I did a remix of Kelly from Ready Set Drone last year, and the remix was just on one of his videos where he was talking about a product, and he mentioned that it's strangely fun but odd, referring to the product. But I interpreted that as him referring to himself. So I kind of photoshopped that shirt onto him in the video and kind of made him sing it, to the beat that I was making in the remix. And then a couple weeks later, or maybe it was a few months later, I decided to get a T-shirt printed with that design on it, and it's kind of like the Ready Set Drone logo. It has the same kind of style.
Yeah, the
And
letters.
so so I redid the artwork, got it printed, and I didn't tell Kelly that I was doing it. And then during his live stream, I said I wanted to give him something. And so after he watched the remix for the first time, I I gave him the shirt live, and he was a little bit embarrassed. He was like, "Oh, this is interesting."
that was a good one.
But
Well, I could just hear Kelly saying strangely fun but odd. Can't you guys hear him saying that?
yeah, yes,
That'd make a
yeah.
great gift, actually.
So before we get started, I wanted to welcome everybody here. We have John from Flying Flynn Media, and of course we have Angie and Akirasho, and we have Johnny, and it looks like
Max.
we have Ray Kelly, and thanks for coming in, guys. Don't forget to hit that like
Yeah,
button.
hey, everybody.
Yeah. So, Marcus, you've been all over the place with your products. I mean, you've been doing reviews like a madman. So, and your channel's taken off like crazy. So, how's that going? What have you been up to? What are you working on?
Yeah, so this little guy has been my focus lately, just simply because it's the new drone and it's the one that you want to be messing around with. So I've just been focusing on a feature at a time. The last one I did was taking panos with the drone, and Tanya Gale got a hold of me, and she had never been out to the Snake River Canyon, so I said, "Let's go," and that was a good opportunity to do some panos with this guy out over the canyon. So got that done, and it's just a fun drone. I'm just kind of amazed at the capabilities that they packed into a little mini drone. I mean, is it going to replace your Mavic 3 like a lot of people say? No, it's not.
No.
But it is. Is it? I mean, it is truly a full-featured product. I mean, you're not compromising on any of the features. So I'm just been having a lot of fun with it.
So, Marcus, I mean, this is a question I actually asked last week. So, do you think then the Mini and the Air series is going to kind of converge a little bit?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because, and people ask me this all the time. They'll say, "Okay," because they're so close in price now, Jenna. If you option this guy up and then you look at the Fly More kit, I think the Fly More kit for the Air 2S is about $1,250 or something, and I think this guy is probably, by the time you option it up, is within $100 or $150 of that. So which one do you choose? I'm going to say the Air 2S all day, every day. for one simple reason. Now, if you need a sub 250 gram drone, if you're in Canada, if you're in Europe, if that sub 250 is important to you, absolutely. But other than that, the Air 2S does everything this guy will do, but does it with a bigger sensor, more powerful motors. It's just a more capable drone all the way around.
Yeah, the only thing it lacks, in my opinion, is from watching you guys' flight time, right? The flight time on that.
That's a good point. That's another good point, Al. I'm glad you brought that up because especially with the endurance battery, this guy flies
40 minutes, 35 minutes. I mean, come on, you could watch a quarter of your concert if you were here in Richmond. You could fly over the river and watch a concert while you're sitting on the bank a half a mile away. You know,
I did a hyperlapse video with this guy. And one of the things that as you guys know, that you have to do with DJI drones is when you're doing a hyperlapse waypoint mission, you actually have to fly the mission and you have to set the waypoints in real time. Then you come back, you hit start, the drone flies back to the start, and then it flies that hyperlapse mission, which in my case, I think it was 18 minutes in the air just to do the hyperlapse, let alone all the other stuff that you're doing with the drone. Well, that endurance battery allows you to do that without.
Yeah, that's a good point, Marcus, because I love hyperlapse. I mean, I could do them all day long. I did a video like 7 days straight of hyperlapses early in the morning and just put them all together. It's like 1 week of hyperlapses. And the thing is, you know, to get 10 seconds of hyperlapse, if you run in 1 second intervals on your pictures, it takes 10 minutes to do 10 seconds.
Right.
So you could do 30 seconds with that little thing you have in your hand.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up, Al, because now that I think about this, and this is a good point, Jenna, the Air 2S, you know, you're going to get, if you fly aggressively at all, you're going to get 20 minutes out of a battery, maybe, you know. So, I mean, it just definitely more power hungry.
I mean, it's a bigger drone, and it makes me wonder, right? I mean, you know, okay, so they have the 2 different batteries with the Mini 3. Is that going to be a feature kind of going forward to help differentiate the middle line? You know, like the Air 2.
That's a great point, and that's one of the things I like about the Mavic 3. I'll take the Mavic 3 over either the Air 2S or this guy,
right?
Just because of the capabilities of it, and it will fly for almost 40 minutes with the battery that it has. So
yeah.
I have a question about your hyperlapse, Marcus.
Yeah.
On your video, I noticed that some of the frames seem to be like partially transparent, like over other frames of the hyperlapse. I was just curious if you noticed that in the resulting file that came straight from the drone, or
the drone actually puts that together. I'll have to, Kris, I did not notice that. I'll have to go take a look.
Yeah, I'm digging for that video right now.
Yeah,
so we can show it.
And I know.
I did a timestamp. Sorry, I did a timestamp on your video, just like maybe a few seconds before I noticed that. And if you could see it very clearly on like the light poles or the vehicles parked in the parking lot, where if you just like pause the YouTube video, you can see there's like a double exposure kind of thing.
Yeah.
With like 1 frame before, 1 frame after. And yeah, I'm just curious if like your raw file looked like that, or if it somehow.
Right, I was going to say, right? So, you get all the JPEGs and put it together yourself. Would it be the same?
Yeah, and you know what? On the Mini, you don't get all the JPEGs like you do on the Air 2S.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah, it puts them all together for you. I've got that raw file. I could put it up, Al, real quick.
Yeah, it'd be awesome if you could do that. Because I was just looking for your video, but I'm going to have to dig through 20 minutes through it and find it. So if you have it, it'd be much easier.
Yeah. Give me
that's one thing about the DJI Go app is so much DJI Go 4 app, right? That is so much better when you do any of your panorama shots. It saves each individual picture of the grid in a folder. And so you can go ahead and pull that out. Now with the Fly app, it does not save any of the individuals. It only gives you the composite put together. Grid. And that includes, you got to remember when you do the sphere, it in the DJI Go 4 app, it saves it too. So that's one thing that I think the DJI Go 4 app is a lot more powerful in that sense, but it doesn't have the master shots that a lot of people like. Any of y'all use the master shots?
Yeah, I love the master shots because trust me on this, it flies the drone way better than I can.
Yes, and it puts it all together and does the editing for you and is all set there. So I really like that for establishing shots because here's where I'm at with a cool feature to it. You know what I mean? And then you can dig into it. Like let's say you were at the park that normally like to fly, Marcus. You could do a master shot there and then cut in right in like this is where I'm at. This is a cool place. I fly here all the time. Blah blah blah. Hey, Susan's joined the house. Thanks for dropping by. We have Charles is here too. Let's see who else is joined here. Thanks for coming by, guys. Appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up on.
Tell me when you got me, Al.
All right, I'm going to add it to the stream now. And so here it is, guys. I'll go ahead and expand it. If you want to talk through it while you hit play.
Yeah, this is just the hyperlapse itself, and I had the drone going from south to north in Heroes Park, and I did that so that the drone would not be flying over people or cars or anything else. So I'm going to hit play now.
And there's that skip you were talking about, Kris. There's the other one.
I think, at least on my end, it's a little bit too choppy for me to actually tell.
Yeah. I don't know how would I look at that a frame at a time. I'm not even sure.
You'd have to put it in your editor.
In the editor,
I could. If you go to that YouTube video of yours, Marcus, I put it in the private chat, and I timestamped it so that when you click the link, it'll go to the exact spot.
I'm looking for your comment now, Kris. Oh, there you are. 12:52. Okay, let me pull it up. 12:52.
And if you just pause the video on YouTube, you can advance. Go forward and backwards by one frame by using the period and the comma keys on the keyboard.
Yeah. Here's your tech tip for today.
Yeah, 12:52, period and comma keys, guys. You got it?
Oh, I need to stop sharing, don't I, Al?
I can knock you out too.
Okay,
so.
I stopped. So
yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
So that timestamp of 12:52 is about 5 seconds before it gets really easy to see. When you get to the parking lot, that's when it's really easy to tell the kind of double exposure.
So in experimenting around, one of the lessons that I've learned when you're doing those hyperlapse waypoint missions is you don't want to be moving the drone camera too much. If you can just do a smooth sideways or straight forward, it comes out way better because I tried to move it a couple times and it didn't turn out well.
Yeah, it ruins the effect, really.
Right.
It's almost like a bad pilot doing a cinematic flight, right? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the period, and we're going to go forward.
So why don't you let it play until it gets to 12:57, and when you see the parking lot, just go ahead and pause, and then you'll be able to tell pretty easily. And then go ahead and stop it right there, and then you can hit right there. Actually, you can kind of see it.
Yeah. You can see the artifacts there right next to each other.
So let me throw something at you guys.
Oh
yeah, right.
Could that have been from when I rendered it in my editor?
That's very possible. What frame rate is your hyperlapse at, and what frame rate do you edit at?
Trees are doing the same thing. It's not just the pole. The trees are,
So, Marcus, that video you just played, right-click it and get properties on it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it's hang on here just a second.
It'll tell you your frame rate.
Yeah. So
29.97,
24.93, and I was rendering it 29.97. So that's what it is.
Okay. Well,
so that difference in the timeline.
Yeah.
Good catch, Kris. Good
Okay,
catch.
well that makes me feel better that the DJI is not doing that in the drone.
Yeah, because if you look at the display right now, you can see the artifacts. So it's almost like, right
Yeah.
there is so evident. You
But I
see,
thought it was coming out of the drone already rendered.
It is, but then I put that file into my editor and then rendered it at 29.
Rendered it again. Okay.
Right. Because I had to edit the thing together. So
Right. Okay.
okay. All right. So
Awesome.
mystery solved, we think. Now Marcus, we're going to give you some homework, okay? You're going to have to render it again with the 24 frames a second on your editor.
Kris is going to get a badge. He's going to be flashing it. Video detective.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. So I've noticed the same thing. So often, if I am filming with the drone, videoing with the drone at 60 frames per second or 59.95 or whatever the heck it is, but my GoPro is set at 30 frames per second. As I edit the video, if I stop at a frame, I can see a little bit of blur in that GoPro video because it's rendering it at 60.
So, Kris, I have a question for you. What is your frame rate that you prefer to film at? 30, 29, 24, 25, 60? What do you film at? Depending on your camera, obviously.
Right. I mean,
if you could shoot in any of those formats, what would you shoot at?
I always do 29.97 just as a standard. It's just what I normally work with. All the drones and cameras that I have shoot at that. And whenever I do video work elsewhere, that's usually the
your default.
standard.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but sometimes I do 60 frames per second, but then I put it in a timeline that's 29.97, and I use that as slow motion or something.
Yeah, get that buttery effect.
Okay, yeah, I interpret it as 29.97.
So here is what happens though when you're in 30 frames per second, and like you said, your DJI drone is 29.97. This guy right here, this Autel Nano Plus, it's exactly 30 frames per second. And it creates that same kind of blur. I've noticed it in rendering, and you typically see it when you're in a yaw movement or something. And same thing with your iPhone. You take a video with your iPhone at 30 frames per second, and it's exactly 30 frames per second. It's not that 29.97. So there's always a compromise.
Yeah. I'll tell you who is not exactly 30 frames a second. Hubsan. By the time you're done with your video, your time is shifted like a second or two. You're like, oh my gosh, the audio doesn't sync anymore. What just happened?
Frame dropping.
And then you're always cutting and deleting and all this stuff.
My favorite is we talked about obstacle avoidance with the Xeno Mini Pro. You turn on obstacle avoidance and it so messes with the frame rate if you're videoing. It comes out like comically high speed. It's hilarious.
On which drone? Hubsan?
The Hubsan
Xeno product line.
Otherwise known as the Black Hawk Mini 2 or whatever. Yeah.
Well, even the Xeno 2 does it too. When you run at 60 frames a second, it's not 60 frames a second because when the Xeno 2 came out, the biggest thing about it was you got a 4K 60 frames a second drone, and nobody else was doing that, not even the Mavic 2 Pro at the time. So it was a 4K camera shooting at 60. So it was really cool. So Marcus, I noticed your drone is red. Pull that thing out again before you put it away. Look at the color difference between. Is it our? Yeah, you got the red one.
Yeah,
you got the red.
It's the one that got halfway back to China, and then they said, "Oh no," and they sent it back, and it must be $200 to get the drone back.
Hey, Bob Casey, thanks for dropping by. Appreciate you being here. So we got. Hey guys. Kris's channel's at 408 subscribers. Help him out, man. Jump in there and subscribe to his channel. Just look for Sunrise Water Media. He's got some really good content. One of the funny ones that I think it was you and I were chatting on Facebook, Kris. Um, you posted something having 999 views, one view away from 1,000. And
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as they hit my phone, I was like, I jumped on it. I said, consider it 1,000. I'm watching it right now.
That's called the Duran bump.
The
Yeah, that video had been my most popular video for like 11 months. I think that's how long. And it was stuck at 900 and something for a long time.
999.
And I was like, one day I'll get one video above 1,000 views.
You
And then I
did.
posted a video like last month, and then within 2 days I got 1,000 views. I'm like, why? I don't understand
Wow.
why. Yeah.
YouTube is so fickle.
Oh my gosh, it's the craziest thing to try to figure out, right?
Yeah.
You could create a video that is just, you believe it to be a masterpiece.
Oh, you spend all that
You
time
put it
on
up,
it.
you're thinking,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
this thing is going to take off like a rocket. It gets no views. Then you throw something up that you go, you just said, wow, I'm kind of almost ashamed of this one. And then all of a sudden, it'll 5,000 views, and
Instagram's the same freaking way, man. I put like one of these 3D printed things on this Lazy Susan that's automatic, and it was for the GoPro bones, the 10 bones. So it hits 5,000 views in a day. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, I did 30 seconds worth of work and just recorded it with my phone. And I was just, the only thing I did was I put Pink Floyd music on it. You can't resist Pink Floyd, in my opinion. But that was the days of a lot of partying in high school. All right, Kris, I'm going to play your video about the fiery crash. Okay.
Okay.
And if you guys haven't seen this video, you guys got to go look at it because we need to get this thing way up there. And I'm going to turn the sound off, but you can narrate it. Actually, your narration was pretty cool, but yeah, it's all written narration if I remember right.
For the most part. And in the second half of the video, I think I do like have audible narration.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share it here. It's pretty good. I laughed really hard when you get to that scene with Kai.
Yeah.
You got to admit it. You probably were laughing after you
Lone
put it
Star
together.
UAV right here.
Yeah, that's it, right? All right, so let me go ahead and put it this way. I think I can do it this way. Yeah, all right, that might not work, but let's try it. Here we go.
Yeah, so this was a sunflower farm that I was flying at, like about an hour and a half drive away from me, and I just got permission from them just to fly, and I brought one FPV quad, which is never a good idea, and so I just got a few practice runs in, just to make sure everything was good, and then next thing I knew, I just dropped out of the sky, and I had no idea what happened. So I went up and found it, and
You
realized
did the walk
that.
of shame.
Yep.
Oh, look at the motor up in the air.
Yeah, I'd never seen my motor bell disconnect before, and I thought I could just put it on, just whack it back on, and it flew for about 30 seconds, surprisingly. But then, of course, eventually, since it's not actually physically secured, just
Almost in
magnetically.
the same spot too.
Yeah, this time I lost the motor bell. So I had to replace that motor bell, and then we had a meetup, and right now I'm just flying a tiny whoop. I think it was my Mobula 6. So
Yeah,
there's my
everybody.
repaired quad, and I'm very pleased that I repaired it and it's flying. And of course I was flying analog here, and whenever I fly analog with DJI FPV pilots, their signal seems to be very strong and always, cause interference on my analog system.
Mm-hmm.
And so about right here is when I lost video and I just had to disarm. And I crashed, and I think I'm going to show the video here. This is my goggle view. And you can see I pretty much lose video for a few seconds. I just decide I have to disarm.
Yeah, because you're about to land it on top of the roof, and nobody wants to
Yeah.
climb a tin roof.
And then after I crashed there, the arm broke and it caused a little fire.
The fire.
Oh my God.
Luckily, nothing else burned. Like I didn't catch anything else on fire, but it was quite a disaster.
It was quite intense. So you could see it burned right through your carbon fiber, man. Just
And then this part, this part probably needs audio from the video if you wanted to play it.
all right, let's play it.
Kai let me fly his quad, which was really nice of him. I don't want to ever take that for granted. However, during the entire flight, all I could think of were the times that he's threatened me.
Sunrise, you need to be kicked. Not have to give him some concrete boots and from down by the dam.
Part of me is terrified.
Yeah, and I know exactly what part of you is terrified.
With all that in mind, I was extremely careful about not crashing. I didn't do anything crazy. I managed to bring it home safely, landed it, took off the goggles, placed them out of the sunlight, carefully put down the controller, but neglected to see that the lanyard had caught on my shoe. And as I stepped away to retrieve the quad, oh gosh, I can't watch. Moment replayed in my head over and over and over.
Of course, Kai's watching it.
I'm going to kill you.
But Kai let me live, which surprised me until I realized his plan. Psychological torture.
That's going to be a fun day. It's going to be fun.
And it's only just begun. I'm in for a long ride. But I can't say I don't deserve it.
Scared yet? You should be.
So yeah, I broke Kai's controller.
There's nothing worse. No, listen, I felt worse for Ron when that nano fell into the ocean in Florida.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I felt worse for Ron than I did about losing the drone. You know?
Yeah, you kind of whenever you're flying someone else's drone, there's kind of a unspoken understanding that you're taking on the responsibility of landing it safely, and if anything goes wrong, you're liable. You know?
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of an unwritten rule that if somebody said, "Hey, do me a favor, fly my drone, see what you think of it." You know, in the FPV world, especially if you've done your own build, you always want to hear what somebody else says. You know, it's like, "Oh my gosh, it's got a lot of throttle left," or "Hey, this thing is, smushy," or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So don't forget to subscribe, guys, to Kris' channel, guys. So we had a few more people join. Sergio is on break. Thanks for jumping in here, Sergio. I know you're on break, man. So thanks for dropping
Sergio
by.
did a great tutorial on the what was it called, a juicy flick, I think, the other day.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, yeah, it's a funny name, Marcus. But
Yeah, I just
All right, so to stay on topic.
So I see that Johnny Drone Flyer has volunteered to take care of you, Kris. He'll be your bodyguard. It looks to me.
oh
like.
yeah, I feel very safe with Johnny.
Yeah,
Johnny,
and that's
I love you, Kai. See, I'm wearing your shirt.
You're sucking up to him.
hugs and kisses, hugs and kisses.
Oh yeah, there you go, Johnny.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, so I was going to talk about. We were going to talk about the Mini 3. You guys got anything else on the Mini 3 or the Minis that you guys want
I
to
have a
discuss?
question. I don't know if Marcus, you'll know, but I heard that when you fly in the Mini 3 with the DJI RC and you don't have an active internet connection, you're not able to reset the home point. Like if you were to fly it and then like you're driving or you're on a boat and you want to change the home point to a new location, apparently you're not able to do that without an active internet connection. I
You
was just
have
wondering
given me assignment. I will check that out, Chris, and I'll tell you why that is important, because one of the things that I have been wanting to do and will do is a return to home video with this guy. And I like to show people all the aspects of return to home that, you know, it's a pretty interesting feature. And that, like you said, if you move to a different spot, you can reset it, or you can have it come to the controller. All those things are important. And DJI allows you just to move the map around and pick a spot, which is cool. Of course, would you need an internet connection? Probably not if you had the maps cached. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
you can cache it.
Because I know when I've flown Kelly's Mavic 3 without an internet connection on the RC Pro, I was able to, like, say, you know, reset the home point to like drone's current location or something. And I just saw a video today that with the Mini 3 Pro and the DJI RC, you have to have a hotspot to your phone if you're flying and you want to reset the home point.
That doesn't make any sense to me, but
Yeah.
I'll try it. I'll find out.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think DJI calls it dynamic home point. So that's, well, here's the deal with that controller, Marcus. You're getting actually a phone display in that for that included price that you do not get with the Air 2S. So you got that extra value.
That's a great point. That's a great point. And let me tell you what,
Android phone.
If they make this thing compatible with the Mavic 3 and the Air 2S, I will buy another RC just to use so I can keep this one in this kit and have another one. I really like this RC.
Yeah, I don't think they can keep them on the shelf if they make it compatible with the other product lines.
Yeah.
If they make it compatible, backwards compatible to, you know, anything running OcuSync 3, it will work. It will be unbelievable. So have you tried to track, what was Fast Track 4? I think that's what the version
So I haven't done any active track with it yet. That's another video that I'm going to do. I mean, obviously, I love the Focus Track suite, and the fact that they gave us that whole Focus Track suite with this little drone is just phenomenal. It so helps flyers like me that I'm probably not the most accurate pilot in the world. You can set that in spotlight mode. You can set that camera on a point, and it's just so easy to fly it around and keep it right in center of frame. Or you can put it up in the corner if you want it up in the corner. Man, that's one of the best features.
That is really nice. Because if you're like, I don't know, you know, Captain Drone's always doing some really nice, you know, sidebar graphics, you know, he already knows how he's going to edit it. So while he's doing his raw shots, and he'll say something like, and over here on this screen, I'm going to have the spec. Here's the spec. And he knows that he doesn't want to remember the spec. Because I'm not going to remember the spec. The specs are right here. You know what I mean? And he just, boom. And if you could do what you're saying on a circle or droney or whatever, you frame it to, you know, a third instead of the center, it's perfect for that.
On a flippin' mini drone, they give us that.
Yeah.
That's what's so cool about it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, that's what the tech is, you know, like, so what's the tech going to look like then, you know, in the next Air 2, Air 3?
Whatever it is. Yeah.
It's going to, I think it's going to be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So have you had any issues with your, I guess your transmission, both going around buildings, going around objects?
The only time I've seen I had a transmission issue is when I was turned facing away from the drone. All of a sudden, it'll give me a little weak signal, and I go, "Oh yeah, the drone's behind me. Turn around, dummy!" You know.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Ken Heron did a little range test. You know, he put the pole up on the
Hey, Scott.
or the Mini up on a pole in a car and drove down the highway with it. And he actually got more range with the Mini 2 than he did with the Mini 3, even though the Mini 3
Really?
is, 4 antennas versus 2 antennas?
Yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah. So the issues that people are having with the Mini 3, it appears to be that it's not every drone. Some people, Sean at Air Photography, has had issues with his, and he posted a video today with a solution that evidently, even if you're in an FAA area, the drone sometimes will go into CE mode, and he even had a solution on how to avoid that. So that could be a software fix, but it seems that about 20 to 30% of the folks that bought this little drone are having range issues. Don't know why.
I wonder if it's a batch. Was that early release one, or was that in the middle of the batch?
Bad batch of chips.
Just like Star Wars, right? When they had the clones, bad batch.
Bad batch. Exactly. All right, let's switch the topic then. I think we've kind of beat that horse to death. Let's talk about FPV. And do you think the question to the panel is the FPV market growing in the U.S.? And I'll start with Jenna. Jenna, you're close and dear to that subject, and then we'll talk to Kris about it.
Well, I think so, because I'm doing my best to do my part. So I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching you take it into acro mode, Jenna. That was my first time actually doing it outside. I mean, I had done it inside, but yeah, that was the first. And I got to say, thank God for the simulators and flying inside, during the winter and stuff. I mean, that's just the way to do it, because it just gives you so much feel for the sticks, using the same, controller. But yeah, so yeah, I'm knee deep in it now. Going up higher. Be waist deep soon.
Well, that's a good point, Max. I mean, Betaflight is free. It's never had any issues. Yeah, we run into issues sometimes when we flash, but that's usually the flight controller.
I also say that, Al, in the sense, I have another friend, Nancy, who, just likes to fly fast, and she's flying, she's got a Mavic Pro, and just the other day I said, well, do you want to get an FPV? Because the build that I did with you, I bought enough to do an extra build, and so she might be doing that build. Now, she's usually busy over the summer pretty much. I mean, she's retired in a way, but she could start working on builds. I mean, so what I'm saying is there's one more, right?
Yeah.
Going to get into FPV, and 65-year-old lady is going to get an FPV.
Wow, that's amazing. That is awesome. I mean, and that's great for the hobby. Absolutely great. And ladies in the FPV now are just popping up left and right. I was just I don't know if you noticed, you guys, Kim. What was Kim's?
I'm confused.
Yes, she's been posting a lot lately on Facebook about her FPV build. So it is really good to see that, getting some synergy, with the ladies to do this. I think that's awesome. I think we need to encourage it as much as possible. So,
Kris, there's got to be one less FPVer. I think I'm going to sell my DJI FPV drone. Goggles just don't work for me. So I can only see half of the screen, so it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I know, Marcus. I know you're a bit challenged with that. So
otherwise, I'd love to do it. If not for that.
If they had a one eye focus or something that you could refocus, it would be. It would work.
I love the speed of that DJI FPV drone.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you need the pirate version.
But the range on the DJI FPV drone is the best. That was a good one, Jenna. The range on that DJI FPV is unbelievable.
Max,
even Max likes
$50.
Not $50. Hey, Max can find some deals out there, can he? He bought that Inspire for like $800. I think it was. How much was it, Max? I think it was Inspired he got for $800. And then he just recently got a jet. And I was watching his video about his jet, and I was like, man, you bring that thing down here. I'd love to chase that thing. You'll run me over, but that's okay.
Yeah, how much?
So,
How
Kris,
much?
your thoughts
Oh,
on the
okay, yeah.
FPV market?
Well, I'm interested to see. I think, what is it Walk Snail? I think their product is going to be released in a few days. I haven't really been keeping up on the new HD goggle systems, but I'm waiting to see how all that plays out, and because there's a lot of secrecy happening behind whether DJI is, the code underneath some of those new goggles, and whether DJI even has a future in the US. So I'm just kind of sitting back and waiting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, and with the new Avada coming out, right, which is that Cinewhoop that will be able to pitch your camera up and down. That's going to be super interesting.
And
And,
is that
and
rumored to
it's going to
have
be,
new goggles?
yeah, it's going to be recorded in 1K to the goggles.
I
So
see.
that way you don't need a DVR recording. Hopefully it'll come out pretty steady. And
Yeah.
so that's another, twist in the game,
Yeah.
because if you're able to pitch up and down and you're still flying smoothly, I mean, that changes that whole dynamics of the FPV Cinewhoop flight.
And that's rumored not to have acro mode, right? Because that would be challenging to fly acro and also be able to pitch the gimbal.
Yeah, but you got to remember, Cinewhoops are so slow anyway.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You're just compared to your 5-incher. You're like,
Yeah, but I really like this thing. It flips and rolls and does everything. Crashes.
yeah, but you can slow it down if you want to. That was my point.
Mhm.
And the 5-inchers are so heavy. I mean, mine are like 800 grams.
Mm.
So you're trying to slow it down. It's like woo, 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 and it just you like to
Love the sound effects, Al.
Yeah, that was
Your
spot
drone's
on.
got up
That was pretty good.
Because you got to remember when you're flying, Kris. I don't know. You're all, and Jenna, you probably are always listening to your props, right? How they're pitching, so you understand if you're being real twitchy with your throttle
Yeah,
management.
that's how you do it, Marcus. Yeah.
Yeah. You put your ear in it, right?
Did my Zeno Mini Pro call
Like
you?
your hair.
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean to drone call you. That was funny. Yeah, and let's see what are the people saying in the chat here.
I really like the smaller, like 3.5-inch to 4-inch FPV quads. Like, I mean, I fly my Baby Hawk too, pretty
All
much
day
constant.
long.
Like my latest video is like I'm going through gaps in like a wooden fence, and with that thing, it's very quiet. I can just put my little Cadex Peanut, Insta360 Go 2 on it, and I can go through small gaps, and I can kind of do freestyle moves, and it's just like the perfect all-arounder for me.
And the flight time. I mean, you're getting 7 minutes flight time if you're
easily.
easy on it. And if you have the Cadex on there or your GoPro on it, well, not the GoPro, but the Peanut on it.
Yeah, I did fly with the GoPro Session.
The Session. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, but it doesn't fly that great. You just have to be really careful, but the Peanut is perfect on there.
Yeah, you'd have to move that battery way back, and that's a funky thing about that battery strap on that.
You can't adjust it.
Baby Hawk, because you can't slide it back and forth. You're stuck in one position, and it barely catches the front of the battery when you have, something heavy on the camera. So
yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Question. So you guys mentioned the Cadex Peanut. Now it does look exactly like my Go 2. Is that exactly what it is, or is it just?
It uses the same software and everything to transfer your videos to your phone. The only thing different is that you power it up using a balance.
External power. I got you.
It's got an external power. You have to put it back in your case, and that's what Jenna's holding right there. That external that power right there, and it's got a USB port on it that you plug right into what you call the Go-To, but it's the Peanut with that, that mod on it in a sense. But anything else, Chris? Difference? I think. I mean, you use the same software. The Insta.
So yeah,
360.
so the Insta360, since the Peanut came out, they started like selling their Go-To, without the case, and then they also have a magnetic or some kind of mount that you can just plug in with a USB-C cable. So in essentially, they're allowing you to fly FPV. You just mount it on your FPV quad and just plug in a USB-C cable. So the only reason to get the Peanut is if you want the more rugged shell on the outside. But now you can get a arguably cheaper version with the Insta360 Go-To,
and lighter, right?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure about that
how
one.
heavy, yeah. But the one thing I don't like about the Peanut is every time I power it off and then back on, the white balance gets set back to auto. And I like to have my fixed. I like to set it to a fixed number.
Right.
So what he's saying is, Marcus and everybody in the panel, is he has to use his phone and Wi-Fi right back onto his Peanut, go through the settings, and which will be at least 2 minutes because you got to connect to it. You got to go through the menu, just change your settings, save it, fly, come back, unplug, and then unfortunately you lose all. But if you left it running the whole time, Chris.
Yeah, usually
from the internal power source, you wouldn't have that problem.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, generally I leave it running and then I just plug it in when I fly. So it's not a huge deal. But I contacted Insta360 just to see if there's a firmware update or a setting where you can just say always keep it at a specific Kelvin number. And they said, it's made by Caddx. Go talk to them about it. And I contacted Caddx, and then they're just like, well, Insta360 makes the software and the app and everything. So it's like no one. Basically, they said it's not possible, but you don't really know who to go to for support because they just kind of toss the ball back and forth. But even with that, I still really like using it and flying with it.
Yeah, I mean, what a great product, right? Not as nice as what that Insta360 that you have, Jenna. I mean, I love that.
Oh, well, yeah, that big thing, yeah.
Yeah, that big thing is amazing, right? Just amazing.
I mean, you have to put that on the bottom of a B29 for crying out loud to get that thing off the ground.
I don't know if you guys were here on this live stream last week, man. Jenna showed... to our knowledge, that's the only video in the world right now where Insta360 was put on the bottom of B29. And Jenna had access to the engineers who fly that thing, the flight crew, actually, right?
Yeah. I know one of the flight engineers at the show, and he was keen to see if he could get some footage because we had done it 3 years ago, I think, on the B24. So, yeah. It's super cool. I just to see that.
So you literally mounted it on the bottom of the aircraft?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm curious, how did you, not with suction cups, with suction? Or
No. They have like a GoPro mount.
Oh, okay.
They actually have on the bottom of the B29 and then a mount for the camera.
Because I can imagine the vibration would be
screw it in. Oh, it's incredibly smooth.
Really?
Oh God, yeah.
Really?
I could cue it up if you want to see it, Marcus.
Oh, I'd love.
Yeah, cue it up.
What
do you have there, Marcus?
Well, no, this is the Go-To, and I use this a lot when I'm drag racing, quite frankly, because I can put the little sticky mount up in the windshield and just mount the Go-To in there. Use the remote when I pull up to the line. It's part of my procedure. I'm getting ready to configuring the car. I just start video on the remote. Boom. And
Hey guys, in the
what that
chat,
does
I'll put
for
a
me,
link to the stream if
Yeah.
you want to join.
Do you want me to share it, Al?
Yeah, please. And I'll post it.
Share screen, share screen, share screen.
You know what? Talking about FPV wire, Jenna gets this thing queued up. Man, I've been really disappointed on the prices of the components. I mean, it costs you more to build your quad nowadays than to purchase it already built.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to source an Evoke, it costs you like $10 more to build it than to buy it already built. All right. Here's Jenna's video from the B29. And tell us about the camera again, Jenna.
Yeah, so it's the Insta1 360 or 360X12, whatever it is. These things, these names are just too long. But yeah, so Joe had just put it on, and that's that's
Yeah,
just,
I think like in the middle to the end of the video, you had really good, cool shots.
yeah, that's B24, and this is at the Reading Air Show, and this is the B29. These things don't take off very quickly. Don't get me wrong. So it was on the runway actually for quite a bit, and I think So here it's taxiing. Might be a little jerky because just the bandwidth here, but you can see on the the outboard engines aren't on. That's just because they don't want those propellers spinning. You can see as it goes over the lights on either side, kind of close, so they don't turn those outboard engines on actually until it's ready to take off. But that was a B-17 that just went over actually.
Yeah, I was going to say shadow of something there.
Yeah, that's a B-17. So and yeah, let's see if I can get this thing close to the runway. Yeah, so now they're starting up the outboard engines. And there's the B-25.
Wow.
There.
The angle that's rolling is quite drastic.
What, that plane?
Yeah, the plane that just took off. It just banked hard.
This is the air show, and you'll actually see that angle on this plane as it comes through. So let's see if we can get it going.
So 27 cylinders per engine, so that's 108 cylinders on that aircraft.
Yeah.
Wow.
How do you like to do the timing on that thing?
Yeah. There's Diamond Lil, a B-24, and we've got video from the top of that. That was the GoPro video. Or actually Osmo. The Osmo 1 he put on the top of the B-24. So I've got video of that. And again.
And talking about that, I just picked up a Pocket 2. Whoa, look at that. For $100 on Marketplace. I did a max and picked up something good value. I think Max Air is always picking up really good deals. So I started sniffing Facebook. Go ahead, Jenna. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I was just showing again, just the 360 part of it. So the camera is mounted actually. It's not facing forward. So the primary lens is actually, I believe, facing to the left. Just to highlight that. It's gonna.
Hey, Robbie. Thanks for dropping by. I know you're in Thailand, and it's probably like really, really early there.
Yeah. So take off roll. But you can see, I mean, take off roll on a B-29. I mean, the video is rock solid.
Yeah, it's not vibrating much at all. I mean,
No.
I was, like Marcus was saying, I was expecting more vibration out of it. But the image stabilization, oh my gosh, look at how smooth that is. I love how the shadow is right there. And it's gone.
Right?
Yeah, and then, that is so cool. That's a great product.
So Jenna, when you edit these, are you using the mobile app on like an iPad, or do you like the desktop version?
I like the desktop, and I guess with the 360, this will stop at 30 minutes and then it'll start an entirely new clip.
Okay, but is it pretty seamless once you get them together?
No, it jumped a little bit, actually.
Okay.
So when I put this together, actually, I mean, the entire like 45 minutes is like, it's over 50 gigs.
Wow.
So
What frame rate does it record at?
in order to do that, then yeah, I've got to play with that in Premiere Pro.
So does that record in what frame rate? I'm sorry, bit rate is what I meant to say. Do you know, Jenna?
I don't know what the bit rate is on this.
Yeah, it should tell you. You got a Windows box, right click it, go to properties, and then go to more info.
Yeah.
It'll tell you the bit rate.
So here's, yeah, so here it's coming around for the air show.
That's amazing video.
Oh, come on, you can do it.
Yeah, that is crazy. And there's everybody watching.
Yeah.
And he's still diving. That is so cool. And now he's pulling up. That is cool. Amazing stuff. Yeah, that's a nice video. Definitely got to get some views out of that.
Yeah, I'll put this together. I'm waiting for the guys at the Commemorative Air Force to have first crack at it. I'm not going to put it on until, you know, I know Joe has seen it and he's
And
he's
you
okay
can see,
with stuff.
you can see all of us leaning in, looking. Yeah, it looks really good, Jenna. Really good.
Yeah, really amazing.
Very nice.
Yeah, there's only 2 of these planes flying in the world, so.
I really do love the shadows in the ground. I don't know why. I thought it's always a cool look. And he's gonna bank hard, isn't he? Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's banking pretty hard. I mean, he's basically just out there doing a big circle.
Yeah.
So Jenna, were you on board?
No, I was not. I didn't fly in this one. I have flown on the B-24, the B-17, and the B-25.
Wow.
This is going to be
Not
next year. And I've
Not
got
many
those.
people can say that.
Yeah, I've got videos of the B-25 flight, which is just you know, I'll sit right behind the pilots for the entire flight. It's just so incredible. And imagine, you know, because I, you know, reference, you know, Jimmy Doolittle and those
Your
guys.
little Raiders, yeah.
Taking off from an aircraft carrier.
From a carrier. Can you imagine?
I know, I cannot. Actually,
Yeah.
having been in that plane and watching and how it basically takes 2 of them to fly that plane, it's unbelievable. And to be able to get into the front of the plane, you got to crawl on your back.
Right.
To get into the front of the plane. It's, you know, so I got to do that. Yeah, so there's the bank when this is what they call coming around for the photo shoot. You know, they just bank it, you know, nice bank so people can get really good pictures. And I do. I've got some really nice pictures of Fifi.
That is so cool.
But,
You see, Air Max says he has a B-24 RC plane that he flies. And,
nice.
yeah, this is really, really nice. Well, we can't wait for you to post so we can.
Yeah, well, at over 50 gigs, if I, excuse me, do the whole thing, excuse me, God knows how long it'll take to upload to YouTube.
Right.
But, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, history buffs, you know, you do this to keep the history alive because this is, you know, this is our legacy from what, you know, we call the greatest generation. And I think it's important.
Agreed.
So.
Well, you're doing a great service for these guys if you do put it together for them.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they'll watch it over and over. Hey, Kris Waters has joined from the West Coast.
So, yeah,
Hey,
I don't want to
Kris.
hog the show with this. I'll let you can
Okay.
Hop to another topic. It is 8 o'clock afterwards, so I'll stop
It
sharing.
is. It is. And we've come to the section of the show where we do shameless promotions. So we'll start with Kris, and then we'll go to Marcus, Jenna, and I'll finish up. Kris, any shameless promotions you want to talk about?
Well, I just uploaded a video yesterday, so if anyone hasn't seen it, go check it out on Sunrise Water Media. It's about my T-shirt that Matt from Northeast Drone Productions sent to me. A very, very large T-shirt, plus some FPV flying. So
Yeah, we were just laughing about that earlier. What did you show that T-shirt for? Do you have it?
One more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, show us the T-shirt, man. We want to see the
So-
T-shirt.
it looks bigger in my video because of some tricks, but this is the T-shirt right here, and it goes back to a joke that Matt had said on his live stream. He likes to say that he thinks huge thoughts because he's such a huge YouTuber, and he likes to have fun.
Hugeness. I think you're going to put that word in the dictionary now.
Hugeness, yes.
Hugeness.
All right. Well, cool. Don't forget to go check out Kris's channel, guys, and subscribe. Marcus, you're next.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, so I just posted a video with the little Mini 3 out over the Snake River Canyon, just showing some panorama shots. I thought that's just a good venue for showing off panoramas. And then let's see what's coming up on the channel. I'm actually leaving for Montana tomorrow, so I'm going to be out for a few days, but I've got some videos that are ready to go. So I'm not sure which one I'll post first, but one that I did back in April, I had the Mavic 3. I was up at Snoqualmie Pass on Interstate 90 on my way to, actually was on my way to Canada. And at the very top of the pass, I flew the drone and got some pictures of the ski resorts and the spring runoff and so forth up there. So I'll either post that one. And Al, this will be of interest to you. I've got one ready to go. I got the FPV X8 Mini out the other day. And just for the fun of it, I hadn't flown it in a long time. So I picked it up and flew it and determined that it is the fastest of all the mini drones. I had that guy up to over 18 meters per second, which is roughly 40 miles an hour, which for a mini drone, that's hauling the mail pretty good. So anyway, that's about it.
That is a great thought. I did a quarter-mile drag race on drones, and I basically set it out 400 meters, which is equivalent to a quarter mile, and just let it rip. I think the sounds are about right, Marcus?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah, that'd be pretty close.
Pretty close. Okay, cool. Jenna, what do you have?
Well, shameless plug, I guess, to all our World War II vets. And for my next video, I think, it's going to be the second part of the volcano video from Hawaii, because I post more than obviously just the drone stuff on my channel. But yeah, the next one will be more of me flying the little RC around my little playground. When I get to it, that'll be my next video. That'll go up after the volcano video. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, guys, don't forget to hit Jenna's channel. And don't forget to hit Marcus's channel for sure. Jenna C and Idaho Quadcopters. Subscribe and follow them. I don't have anything to promote. I'm just working on, my goodness, man. I broke my antenna right off in the middle of that air unit. And so I'm just going to try to get that thing fixed. But I think it's done. The antenna just snapped off and it's done. Well, we've come to the end of the show. I want to thank our guests, Kris and Marcus and Jenna. Just amazing fun. Just sitting here chatting with you guys. They're like old buddies, old times. Can't wait to get together in person with you all. I mean, really. Marcus, Kris, when are you guys coming to Virginia? Jenna, when are you coming to Virginia?
You never know.
Host you, man. Come on down. You're welcome anytime, okay?
yeah, maybe on my way to Tennessee. Who knows?
There you go. There we go.
Will you take me by the James River, Al?
Yeah, well, if you want a raft ride, oh, well, that's right. You might not be interested. I can give you the rapids run if you want to do the rapids. Just we'll strap a good strong vest on you, man. So
The trouble with water, Al, you cannot breathe that stuff.
you can drink it. Yeah. Okay. With that said, good night, guys. Thanks for dropping by.
Bye-bye,
Really,
everybody.
Thank you.
really fun. With that said.